Created with the purpose of improving the quality of education in private schools, especially schools serving children from low-income neighborhoods, the Developing Effective Private Education in Nigeria, Deepen, managed by Cambridge Education and funded by the UK Aid, has continuously enhanced the learning outcome of the students. As part of activities aimed at achieving its objectives, a learning event on delivering quality education at low cost was organized for members of the Association of Formidable Educational Development, Afed. At the program, the facilitators took turns to enlighten the participants.
What is a good performance and how do we make a judgment that a school system is doing well? So we took a decision that we will not depend upon our own understanding or our own judgment of doing well or not doing well. We will find some other mechanism whereby somebody would judge us, and that somebody should be such whose word is accepted as genuine word by everybody, every stakeholder in the society. We are interested in understanding the problem of the school system as a whole. We should find out some way whereby quality can be adjusted or assessed by such an agency which has a reputation and whose judgment is accepted as a valid judgment by all the stakeholders in the society, which includes certainly the parents, but also the government, as well as quote-unquote another experts.
In Nigeria, we have individualized business. Everybody wants to be a boss. If you want to be a boss, there are many schools, there are many of our schools that ought to be headed by just one person. But we have 5, 7, 6, 10 head of schools. There are many of our classes that ought to be combined into one. There was a class where we had only 5 children, and you have only one teacher to 5 children. Only one. Remember, you have to pay that one teacher for 5 children. And if the class increases to 15, 20 children, it will still be one teacher. So that is where the game will come from. So the essence of this gathering is for you as a group, as an association, to begin to think, what can you do to bring down the cost of educating the children in your schools? Or what can you do? Is it possible for 2, 3 schools to come together and form a union? We are not saying you must do it, but we want to open your minds to a lot of opportunities. What are things we can do?
The poor, we keep getting poorer. Yes. Except the poor changes his or her mentality. And then also, you begin to look at school as a business. Whether you are making big money or small money, it is what? A business, which must break even. And there are elements of what will make it break even. If you start small and you don't want to learn something new, and that's why I pity those who are expecting, you want to go to training room. You don't have money to afford a training that will be held in Sheraton. And you are now seated in a place where somebody is going to impart something you cannot get easily to you. You are concerned about things that are not very important, which is going to take you to a level that will make those things irrelevant after some time. That will take your own school, because if you don't learn anything new, you are not likely going to do things differently to attract more children into your school.
The interactive session was an eventful one as the participants asked questions and shared ideas.
From this financial cost breakdown, there's something about teacher salary. What is the standard of living of the teachers in India? Because with the fee
in Gyanshala, on an average, we have one teacher for not less than 20 children, maybe like 25 children. The effective learning environment is difficult to be created for a setting of less than 15 to 20. So class size of less than approximately 20 is not a very effective classroom size.
Does it mean that all the children in India, they are in school and they be able to afford that money? Because in Nigeria, even as we run the cheapest school in Nigeria, those children too, they are not in school.
I think at one level they would like to send the children to the school if it does not disrupt their life. So if you can organize a school in such a manner that what parents or the society thinks is appropriate for the child, that will work. So one of the important things we have done is that we don't run the school for 6 hours a day. That much of time is enough, and therefore for remaining time, child can do whatever parents want child to do.
What have you put in place to make sure that your teachers are trained? Because it's one of the challenges we are having in Nigeria.
Our training will be very closely linked with the material that we have produced, the timetable that we are using, idea that we have about how the class should be conducted, not about general idea of what is a good education.
Years ago, we used to think that knowledge became obsolete every 5 years. Now, it is every second. What you learned some years ago with your NC, your BS, is not what is happening now. And that is why the training that you are exposed to has to be one that is experiential.
I think we can be able to understand now, beyond reasonable doubt, that there's a lot of difference between education and training. And I want to use this opportunity to remind my leaders. You can only be a leader and remain at the top if you are ready to be trained. If you are not ready to be trained, if you want to continue in that obsolete attitude, you will find yourself at the ground level.
It will be recalled that Deepen conducted a detailed market analysis to identify the major setbacks and challenges in the area of improving private education. And these areas were rules and standards, information, school improvement services, and finance. With these constraints identified, Deepen will be providing an enabling environment for private schools and a more effective market for them to offer better quality education. This is to inform the general public, particularly parents and guardians of primary 6 pupils, that the placement test into GSS1 classes into the public junior secondary schools for the 2015-2016 academic session has been scheduled for Saturday, the 11th of July 2015 by 8 a.m. at the various designated centers across the state. Only primary 6 pupils in the public and approved private primary schools in Lagos State are eligible to sit for the placement test. It is mandatory that parents and guardians of primary 6 pupils in approved private schools ensure that their children and wards register through their respective schools with the Lagos State Examinations Board, Ipaja Road, Agege. Parents and guardians should also note that only candidates who obtain 50% cumulative pass mark and 50% in English language and mathematics will be placed into GSS1. Any pupil that fails to sit for the test will not be admitted into GSS1 in any of the state public junior secondary schools.
Global Education Media presents Education Report on TV, the television program that promotes educational events and activities across the country for parents, students, practitioners in educational fields across categories, corporate organizations with products and services that appeal to the youths, government officials, particularly those saddled with the responsibility of managing education, and the general public. It also covers programs and activities in the educational sector, such as awards and opening ceremonies, school inter-house sports, collaborative engagement with NGOs, as well as corporate organizations. Plus, vocational and technical education, institution for people with special education needs, individual contribution towards the growth and development of education while celebrating success in the educational sector at all levels. Please contact 0803-323-2771 or 0812-120-1359. Education Report on TV, promoting excellence in education on television nationwide.